Today we're going to go over how we do painting estimates. So there's two factors that I think that are important to recognize: clarity and efficiency. And so those are two things that kind of overarch everything that we do. And with that said, I think another thing that would be good to recognize are the 4 pillars that we build our company on. The dream outcome that we're promising. So if we're promising we're going to do something, then the second thing is the likelihood that we'll achieve what we're promising. The third thing is the time it takes to achieve that promise. And then lastly, what is the sacrifice required to achieve it for us and the customer? Most importantly, the customer. What are they going to have to do to receive that promise to be able to have the dream outcome? So efficiency allows us to perform the maximum amount of estimates each day. And this allows us to do it in a clean, effective way, which is also accurate. A great example comes from Ray Dalio's 5-step process. Have clear goals, identify and don't tolerate problems that stand in the way of achieving your goals. Accurately diagnose the problem to get to the root causes of your problems. Design plans that will get you around them. Do what is necessary to push those designs through to the results. Having some kind of system in place that will help you iterate on your process is going to make it more effective in the long run. So as the old saying goes, perfect is the enemy of good. And so sometimes we get in isolation before we start something and we're trying to build out the perfect thing. And so we're iterating and we're thinking of all the different scenarios that could happen, and we're trying to make the process or the system as good as possible. Now, there is a certain level of a threshold we need to get to so that we can, get things off the ground. We don't want to just walk out with no idea of what we're doing, but we don't have to perfect it, because a lot of times when we start doing the thing, we'll actually realize that there's problems that we didn't know about. And so as we start to do the thing in the real world, we'll discover what the real problems are, not what the hypothetical problems are, and we'll actually be able to address the real issues rather than waiting and trying to come up with random or imaginary problems that don't actually exist. Here's an overview of our goals, which is step 1 with Ray Dalio's 5-step process is have a clear goal. So our goal is to have a clear and precise estimate for the customer. We also have an internal goal of getting to $10 million in revenue. So some of the things that were causing a hindrance to get to that, we had 1-hour estimates. And so this reduced how many estimates we could do each day. It also felt like it was a little invasive spending that much time with a customer just to get them a painting estimate. We were also doing handwritten estimates, which were prone to errors and also just not efficient. And then we did not have a good scheduling software or a good scheduling system. And so we cover a large area, and we were able to streamline how we do that. I'm going to break down in bullet points the things that were hindering us from achieving our goals. Here's an overview of our goals: to have clear and effective estimates to be able to serve our customers. And then internally, we want to get to $10 million in revenue. So some of the things that were hindering us from doing that were the systems that we had in place. We were spending too much time at the customer's home, which honestly was kind of inconvenient for the customer. We were also handwriting all the estimates. They weren't clear and they weren't efficient. We also didn't have a good system in place for getting the estimates scheduled, because we cover such a large area. We were wasting a lot of time driving back and forth. So one of the things that we started to realize is that we needed to iterate on our systems and make them better. And it's not always clear at the beginning what the finished product should look like. I may have a driver for my day job, but when it comes to the Dyslexic Hustle, it's just me and my son. We're a small team, so if you want to help us, please subscribe. So we started slowly iterating, finding the best system that worked for us, but also gave the customer what they needed so they didn't feel invaluable or like they didn't matter in the process. And so here's a breakdown of how we have changed some of the things to make it more effective. So we had 1 hour scheduled for every estimate. Again, it felt inconvenient for the customer and it limited how much we could accomplish each day. So we changed our process and we changed how we were doing it. So we made them more effective as well. By making the estimates shorter, we were still able to give the customer everything they needed and have a good interaction with the customer, and they didn't feel overwhelmed with the information we were giving them. We also created a really robust spreadsheet that did all the estimating, so it made it more precise. It made it quicker for us. So we were spending all of our time interacting with the customer, giving them what they needed for that project, and then we spent a minimal amount of time measuring and putting the stuff into the spreadsheet. But once we put the stuff into the spreadsheet, it gave us everything that we need. Once we put everything into the spreadsheet, it would generate everything needed for that project. The software that we created also made it easier to update the estimates. So we were able to make changes quickly and get that over to the customer. This is a little bit specific to our industry, but it's what we needed to be effective and clear and quick in getting the customer what they needed. And then we also created a great system for scheduling. And so when you cover a large area, we literally cover a 150-mile corridor across the Front Range in Colorado. And so being able to segment where we're doing estimates greatly increased our efficiency, and we were able to get more estimates done each week. Some additional things that we've done to make it easier for the customer that reduces the sacrifice needed by the customer, and it also helps us be more efficient, is we have a system on our website where people can schedule an estimate. And so they don't have to wait for us to call, or we don't have to text back and forth. They can just go and do the thing that needs to be done. Additionally, my driver, which I've mentioned before, allows me to be more effective and more efficient. So I'm not sitting behind the steering wheel driving all the time. I'm actually able to respond to customers via text, via email, take phone calls. I'm able to get their project scheduled to get the work done, or get estimates scheduled so that they can get the work scheduled. And so there's so many different things that I can be focused on growing the business rather than just driving around, doing meaningless work. We still have several things that we need to change to be able to get to our ultimate goal of $10 million in revenue, but we have a very clear roadmap to get to 5 million, and we are working on the roadmap to get to 10 million. Here's the step-by-step process of how we do an estimate. Schedule the estimate with the customer. Once we meet with the customer, we discuss questions or concerns they may have. Discuss our process and what we offer with the customer. Then we gather all the information, measure, make notes about what needs to be done. Then we finalize the pricing using our automated system. Then we present the price and go over any questions. Then we set up the estimate in our internal software, and then we email that estimate over to the customer. So that's our 8-step process of how we perform an estimate once we're on site, and even how we schedule to get on site. But it's really important that you think about the full process and how to make it more efficient. It's not really what you can do in a day or even what you can accomplish in a year. It's what you can accomplish over 10 years. So stay focused and build a system that will help you accomplish your goal.